Skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscle is an organ made up of skeletal muscle fibers, connective tissue coverings, blood vessels, and nerve fibers. Structure of a skeletal muscle. Connective tissue coverings. Each muscle fiber of the skeletal muscle is wrapped in a thin, delicate layer of connective tissue called endomysium. Many muscle fibers are bundled together in a groove called fascicle. Each fascicle is wrapped in a second layer of connective tissue made of collagen called perimysium. Many fascicles are bundled together to form a skeletal muscle. Each skeletal muscle is covered by a third layer of dense connective tissue called epimysium. Each skeletal muscle is then covered by a fourth, very tough fibrous layer of connective tissue called deep fascia. The deep fascia may extend past the length of the muscle and attach that muscle to a bone, cartilage, or muscle. Skeletal muscle fibers. A muscle fiber have a long, thin cell. Each muscle fiber is composed of myofibril, and each myofibril is composed of two protein filaments, thick and thin. Thick filaments are primarily composed of protein myosin. They have a rod-like tail that terminates into two heads, cross-bridging. These cross bridges interact with active sites on thin filaments. Thin filaments, which are primarily composed of the protein actin. These are they called helical structures that resembles twisted strands of pearls. Tropomyosin. It's a rod-shaped protein spiraling around actin to stabilize it. Troponin, one that binds to actin, one that binds to tropomyosin, and one that binds to calciamines. Both tropomyosin and troponin help controls actin's interaction with myosin during contraction. Striations are caused by arrangement of thick and thin filaments within myofibrils. A-band. A-band, also known as dark band or area, in which there is overlapping of thick and thin filaments. Light band, also called as light area. There are thin filaments alone. Sarcomere. The length of each myofibril is divided into sarcomere. Sarcomeres meet one another at an area called the Z-line. Within the sarcoplasm of a muscle fiber, there are two specialized membranous organelles. Sarcoplasmic reticulum. It is a network of membranous channels and is similar to endoplasmic reticulum in other cells. It has high concentration of calciamines compared to sarcoplasm, which is maintained by active transport calcium pump. When stimulated by nerve impulse, membranes become more permeable to calcium ions and calcium diffuses out of the sarcoplasmic reticulum into the sarcoplasm. Transverse tubules. These are membranous channels that extended into the sarcoplasm as invagination continues with muscle cell membrane, the sarcolemma. Transverse tubules are filled with extracellular fluid and extend deep into the cell. Each T tubule runs between two enlarged portions of sarcoplasmic reticulum called cisternae. These structures form a triad near the region where actin and myosin overlap. Sarcoplasmic reticulum and transverse tubules are involved in the activation of muscle contraction mechanism because one transverse tubule is associated with two sarcoplasmic reticulum. They are termed as triad.